The
Yeah.
GCCs don't fail, you know.
Okay.
They achieve
Go
limited
deeper.
success, you
Go
know.
deeper. Okay, so the achievement of success is given the scale of it is only
Right,
negotiation.
right.
What would make a GCC fail totally?
Fail. The
Yeah.
GCCs don't fail, you know.
Okay.
They achieve
go go
limited
deeper.
success, you
Go
know.
deeper. Okay, so the achievement of success is given the scale of it is only
Right,
negotiation.
right. No, but yeah,
You're a absolute proponent of the
GCCs,
yeah.
yeah. When they will not achieve their true potential can happen, we can look at it two ways. One is things that should happen in parent, in the in New York, London, or wherever the head office is, and one in India, of course. There are some people, some global leaders who still do not understand what is India. Or there are few, but there are. And those who completely understand, believe in India, sometimes are not in a position to leverage, or it does not become their priority. You see, they have a full-time job, right? I mean, they have a global role, and I'm talking about the executive committee level decision makers in New York, London, or wherever your head office is. The conviction of what is this India GCC, whether it is a cost player for us or if it is a value player. If it is a value player, how can we leverage it? Has to happen there. And it does not always happen. It's a fact. It is not that anybody is intentionally ignoring. It is just that when do you figure in their top 5 priorities uh, the timing of it? See, necessity, there is a saying, right? Necessity is the mother
Of invention.
what, right?
Yeah. Or
When did
innovation.
BNY Mellon grow? In
Right.
2008, when the Lehman crisis happened,
Right.
to our earlier discussion, I got a call one day from our global COO, Andy Bell, great guy. And that day, the survival was a problem for it was like a dire situation. They needed to save cost, and India was a brilliant answer. He asked me, how many roles can you migrate every month? You tell me, I will make plans accordingly. That was a necessity at the time. So I figured on the entire New York priority list as number 1 or 2. It was a fact.
Right.
It's because I was answer to many of their problems.
Right.
Those things should lead to the global leadership thinking about how India features in their plan. That happens, that does not happen. I mean, the role the India leaders can play is to bring it on their agenda all the time, thinking, talking about they are doing this, we can also do it, they are doing it, giving examples and all of that, because that is a starting point. See, the GCCs in India, we are thousands of miles away, we are always on the phone. There is a huge value in doing the water cooler conversation that you almost never do. I mean, how much can you travel? So the ability to influence are limited. The GCC leaders, many are not from that industry. Many, they don't really understand the business. They are learning it, right? They are not experts in that. So to really give the advice on exactly what can be done, happens but does not happen. See, what I'm trying to say is it is a very deliberate action that has to happen from both the sides,
Right.
without which it will not happen.
Right.
But even if so, my first point was the global, right? But the second is the equal responsibilities on India. There is a huge responsibility on the leadership, senior and middle level, is to keep proving capabilities and continuously make an argument that we are capable of doing more, we can do more, leverage India.
Dinesh, there is no question that when there is a clear, clean, and thoughtful transition
Yeah,
that happens from a high cost, small volume of talent availability that drives cost of talent super high in the Western regions. When such a transition happens to India, it has to make sense.
Yeah.
Because it's quite literally, as I say, laws of gravity applies. The water will flow downwards,
Yeah.
unless there is external forces that are applied.
Yeah.
So it is a natural thing that will happen. But allow me to build a use case for a minute. And I'm not necessarily comparing between a transition that is happening in this case, let's say from the East Coast BFSI environment into Mumbai or Pune. The point I'm trying to get to is, let's say it's a toss up between outsourced and internally run, right?
Yeah.
If we just take transitions like a O2C, P2P, enterprise processes, we are limited to that as a scope initially. And the work is outsourced to a
Yeah.
disciplined
Yeah.
player.
Yeah.
And take very specific names, but let's say some of these large
Yeah.
technology service providers who have really refined this global delivery model, the
Yeah.
pyramid, etc., etc. The entry of engineers and the lower levels, there is a brilliant amount of science to maintain the discipline. When you compare work that has been outsourced,
Yeah.
of course, the thing with that is we talked about the incentives.
Yeah.
The incentive of an outsourced partner is to increase the length of the engagement, ensure that the margins are super high. So you hire a bunch of engineers, pay them whatever, $20,000, $30,000, whatever, and then you have the contribution margin, gross margin on top of that, and so that's how they make the money. Whereas when we are building the GCCs, the entry salaries are, let's say, 15-20% higher than what a third party service provider would give. The second factor on top of it is that the year on year wage bill increase that you are providing to the workforce within a GCC is at least, let's say, 3, 4, 5, 6 basis point, like percentage point higher than. There almost these conversations which are starting, which says that the wage bill inside a capability center is hovering between 60, 65, 70%, right? Whereas if you compare the wage bill, pure wage bill of a third party service provider, that's about 45%. In some cases, maybe early 40s in a slightly less efficient, maybe mid 50s, etc. Do you think this, at some stage, unless there is real discipline on managing cost, this will become that's the point I was wanting to check with you. Sorry for a long definition of the use case, but I just thought
No. It has been an argument for last 25 years.
Right.
As to when is the cost arbitrage in India is going to come to an end.
Right.
Or when GCC is going to be expensive than a third party service provider, right? Essentially, that is the argument. I have been answering it for 25 years. In the last 25 years, it has not happened. It's because the cost arbitrage of a New York to Mumbai, what was there then, is maybe little less, but it is still today. That's a fact, right? If the India GCC industry was giving an annual merit of 15% till 2002, 2003, 2004. It came down to single digit after 2008 crisis, and now it is hovering around 9 or 10, right? That's where
Inside of a GCC.
inside of a GCC. That is a typically the merit increase has been, and that is by the Aon compensation and benchmark survey, and they typically talk about these numbers. So over 25 years, if you calculate compound rate, the compensation should have gone in rupee terms significantly high. Why it has not happened is for two reasons. One, when attrition happens, the backfill is at the base. That is how GCCs mostly operate. That when a person with a 3-year experience who has got 2 merit cycles has left, you don't hire a person at that compensation level. You generally have a healthy mix of freshers and experienced. And because we don't anyway get insurance professionals or custody bank professionals, you anyway have to hire from the market and train them on your subject. So this churn of losing at a higher comp and backfilling at a lower comp
keeps the
cost below. That's one. Number two, the build versus buy. GCCs build a lot of their leaders internally, promote within. When you promote within, you do not give them the same comp as you would to a person you would hire from outside. Because you're growing, right? I mean, that person is newly getting into the job, cannot expect a salary of an experienced professional in that same level coming from outside. That keeps the cost down. And the third, very important, which has worked till today in our favor, in our US dollar rupee exchange rate.
Yeah. Year on year that has... because the rupee depreciates.
The rupee depreciates.
Yeah.
And for the last 25 years, it has.
Yeah.
I can't talk about future.
Yeah, there are some crazy topics going on about the dollar devaluation given the...
we'll not get into that.
Yeah, that's a totally different topic.
As it stands today...
Yeah, there is a depreciation.
The churn is going to happen. The build is going to happen. The forex is going to be there. At the other argument I have, that's where, okay, the cost is increasing. Now, cost is also increasing is because, as example, you're hiring a cyber security professional in India. It's a skill that is difficult to hire. It is going to be expensive. So these days, sometimes a rec for such position is opened in Singapore, Mumbai, Pune, Chennai, New York, London, and wherever you find a person you hire. There are some skill sets like that. You do get those people in India as well. They are going to be expensive. So if you combine your wage bill for all your 5,000 people and say that now the cost has gone up, that's perhaps not the right way of looking at it. You have to look at it by skill set. Even in technology, you have different skill sets and you pay them differently. You cannot average it out completely because now the value of what each role adds is different. So the arbitrage that they're getting for a cybersecurity professional or a forensic accounting professional is very different than what they get for a normal operations resource. Those arguments, I think, will go a lot in favor of GCCs continuing to be financially, cost-wise attractive for the next several years. I do not think that the cost argument is going down in the near future.
You listed a few very important points that the point, and maybe some of the capability centers who may not be practicing these must take them into account for them to remain healthy. I'm also viewing it this way. So first you talked about that maturity in the pay rate change framework. That you could position yourself in and around that median, but rather than random 15, 18, 20%, 17%, which is unsustainable,
Yeah.
you market to the market that I will still be maybe the higher single digits.
Yeah.
And then I have going back to the previous point, a outcome based performance management system.
Yeah.
So if I do a 9% or 9.5% on a particular year, I'm able to differentiate between that 9% in such a way that I give about 2x the average to a high performer,
Correct.
which basically means that I'm able to do about 18-20%, if
Correct.
not slightly more.
Correct.
But I'm able to do much lesser
Yeah.
for below
Correct.
average performance.
Correct.
And
Exactly.
so you basically do the remuneration strategy very, very well.
Yeah.
And to that extent, I think it can mimic the technology service providers have found the science of distributing the money
Yeah.
in very large bases.
Yeah.
So that's one pillar.
Yeah.
The second you talked about is, and I didn't connect the two dots, the longevity is slightly, or maybe we'll look at this data ourselves as well. I'm assuming that the tenure in a GCC is higher than the third party,
Yeah.
which means that our ability to promote from within goes up.
Is
And
high.
because you promote from within, you land people at the lower end of, it's almost like you will always land at the quarter Q1 of the next band. So that keeps your costs low.
in control.
But that means that growth has to be an inherent part of the business. Only then you can promote. If you run out of it, so if promotions are stagnant, then you will have a challenge in the GCC wage bill scenario, isn't it?
We have always discussed it. When the music around growth stops, what is going to happen?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, when the bicycle is moving, you have balance.
Yeah.
It slows down, you
Yeah.
trip over.
Well, 25 years it has not happened. We continue to grow.
But it may not happen in your case, but I'm just saying for
No,
the
it will.
market.
Someday,
That if growth is not,
the things that the industry has to look in future is a very real responsibility of headcount reduction because of AI.
yeah,
There is a very real chance of the growth stopping is because, of course, there is a very buzz in the market around GCC setup.
yeah,
And I'm sensing, and it is in the news that there are more and more companies with the middle market are now coming.
yeah.
So the growth is going to be there. The job opportunities are going to be there, but they just may shift from A to B. But when that happens, this growth mindset of an employee of what am I getting will have. That's why my theory of physiological needs, emotional and intellectual, I think will play, is because people do not stay only for compensation. They have to see much more in your organization in terms of how it meets their career needs. Will take care of that. It has to have a different answer.
Understood. Okay, but anyway, coming back to this was the second pillar that you talked about, which is promote internally, get them to the lower end of the band, so that works. The third is hire at the bottom, or replacement always comes 2 levels or 3 levels or 1 level below. And of course, the fourth is rupee depreciates. Or has depreciated. I don't know what will happen going forward. But it does mean that you have to keep a very, very close watch on some of these like undercurrents that you don't necessarily see on a day-to-day basis. You have to keep an eye on these things not going awry.
Absolutely. Costs are very, very closely scrutinized, as they should be. And it is always on the radar of how you're reducing or maintaining the cost.
We've gone through these points, and you've articulated what should a GCC be disciplined about all the way. I don't know how much influence they may have on the rupee appreciating or depreciating against the dollar, but we have articulated what are the important underlying themes that one needs to be watchful. But one could also argue that instead of going so much into the sciences of managing cost, managing promotions, just take the, you know, blob of work and give it to a third party service provider, give it to like the best of
Yeah.
technology providers, and why bother
Yeah.
setting up, managing compliance, managing
Yeah.
an India board, managing real estate?
Yeah.
Why not give it to any of these established players and be done with it?
Well, as a GCC leader, I'll say absolutely not recommended. But we see the third party service providers have been immensely successful. So you cannot take away the credit. I think they also have played big role in proving what India is capable of in a different relationship, right? It works. It works to the extent that the SLAs are clearly defined, because we have to understand that it is a vendor and customer relationship. It is a contractual relationship, and it has several very, two font size contract clauses as well, because it's, that's how outsourcing arrangements are. As long as it stays within that remit of the scope, third party definitely works. The GCC goes before, after, above, below, it goes in all directions. So the value that your own company in India or own location can add cannot be compared, right, with the advantages that third party have, that uh, they don't have any headcount restrictions. Typically, how third party arrangements work is they have a billable headcount. On top of, generally, they keep a buffer bench headcount that they don't charge, but the client gets them as free to work on your account. And they also have management headcount that also they generally don't charge. So for 100 billable headcount, you will get 120, sometimes 125 people working on your account. It works wonderfully well, right? It is. They assure every year a 5% price reduction that goes straight into your bottom line.
Right.
So these, and the third big advantage, according to me, is all the third party headcount is off your balance sheet.
Yeah, absolutely.
The GCC headcount sits on the balance sheet of the parent. All your key ratios that go by headcount are adverse by adding, 10,000 people in India.
Right.
The moment they are with a third party,
Yeah.
that's off your balance sheet.
Right.
But still, that does not happen. That also proves that GCCs must be adding such great value that the global leaders do not want to take advantage of that. But considering some of these advantages, I mean, the probable answer could be, and that is why the BCG or Everest, or I think their papers largely talk about a hybrid model. And the way perhaps it could go is because staying true to the GCC capability word and my earlier mention of capacity and capability, slowly and gradually the future could be that the lower end work will get automated because of AI or something, that will come in the future, or it may be rule based, can go as a hybrid model to a third party service provider. And the work that is knowledge based, that requires business knowledge, that requires uh, very super sponsorship from the global stakeholders and their involvement, can stay, within the GCC, or a mixture of that. I mean, that may be the future, depending also on how each company takes a call.
So, if I were to paraphrase what you just stated, that if I create a stack, if I view work in form of a stack, the high value, low volume, highly creative, very high IP attached to it,
Correct.
a lot of innovation, transformation.
Yeah.
That type of work
Yeah.
will continue to be either insourced more and more or will remain inside without it going away.
Yeah.
If it has gone out in the past, then there is a propensity to maybe bring it inside,
Yeah.
and that will fuel the growth of the industry per se.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the capability centers will become more and more, um, will end up running more creative work, work that requires innovation, work that requires transformation, which is of high value, has high criticality to the parent organization, and thereby have high IP
Yeah.
attached to it. The middle portion is what you're just saying, that rule based engine.
Yeah.
Let's say on the technology side of things, the whole maintenance, testing,
Yeah.
whatever requires discipline,
Yeah.
is done at scale,
Yeah.
and will follow this whole pyramid
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah.
right? And obviously, within that, there is a layer of stuff that could get totally automated,
Completely automated.
where you do not need any of the interventions, the human interventions that may have been necessary from, let's say, the 95s to the 2025.
Yeah.
But more and more of that stuff will get automated between the 2025 to 2030, and that is the hybrid composition.
That may happen.
Yeah, which also means that this coexistence of automation, outsourcing, and in-house capability center, that'll be the composition
Yeah.
of work that gets done in India. It is almost that coexistence of these three things that
It
will
does.
look like. The ratios may change a little bit here and there depending on the maturity or the industry that you're talking about,
Yeah.
but the existence of these three,
That may be the future. And again, like
you can't
depends on
predict.
the
Yeah,
preferences of every organization.
right,
The insourcing trend is increasing.
right.
So the preference is to do everything within GCC, but the hybrid may come back. Like it's cyclical, right? These arguments of back and forth, they keep happening.
Right.
So that may be the future.
Right. Maybe one question to sum up our conversation, but before I even ask you that, as I reflect back on our conversation, we started off talking about your own journey, the three back-to-back brilliant innings, what you learned from it individually, what you saw happening to people, and the culture side and the purpose side of things. And again, at the cost of repeating, I think you would be one of the very few in the country who would have seen the very beginning of the capability center journey, from the incorporation or establishment of GCCs, that transitioning to become Genpact, that fork in the road that the IT technology service providers flourished, and how we have seen such large, they have had their own success anyway. And then the whole GCC journey, and then we talked about the strengths of a GCC, but equally importantly, and maybe more importantly, the weaknesses and the threats that a GCC leader must be wary of all the time and be cautious about, because they don't show up on the surface every single day. Brilliant conversation. I truly enjoyed it. To sum it up, if I were to ask you, what's the state of nirvana when it comes to the GCC? Define that for us and the audience
So captives, GIC, GCC, call it whatever. The moment you call yourself anything other than the core business, there is an element of vendor customer that comes in, like it or not. Because by calling yourself something, you are trying to create your own identity that is different than the main organization.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the nirvana to me is the day the GCC name completely goes away.
Right.
And so my team in BNY Mellon, we used to discuss it and we had a tagline. What is one of our vision? We want to become just like any other location,
And not be termed as GCC.
not be termed as GCC. That was our, when we would present it to our CEO,
Yeah.
that is what we want to become. It is Pune.
Yeah.
It is not GCC.
Yeah.
Like you would say Singapore, London, Pune.
Yeah.
That level of integration of us into the organization is the nirvana. That day, a lot of boundaries will vanish. That day, roles like mine will vanish.
You don't need a separate CEO to run.
May, but
You may run a business line.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Why not have a business line that runs out of it? But yeah.
But that's, far distant away. But the journey should definitely go towards that, is my view.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Dinesh. It's been a fascinating conversation. Hopefully, many would find this as a masterclass of what to do in a GCC, starting with what the hell is a GCC, starting with that. Why should a GCC become an important part of the organization strategy? And why would a GCC fail? But thank you once again for sharing your journey with us today.
Thank you very much. I
Deeply-
thoroughly enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah, deeply appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you.